To play a lead sheet, you need to be able to read and play chord symbols. Today we're going to make a start on this skill by learning how to construct these chords using these intervals. First, we'll practice identifying these 5 intervals, and then we'll practice using those intervals to construct major 7, minor 7 and dominant 7 chords. Then we'll drill our new skills by working through this chord chart. If you're from a classical background, you're probably used to finding chords using scales, but I think intervals are better for a few reasons. 1. Remembering a scale to find a chord tone is an extra step, it's just slower. 2. To use scales, you need to know all 12 major scales. That's a lot of unnecessary stuff for a beginner to learn if they just want to play some chords. And even intermediate and advanced players don't remember all the major scales perfectly, which leads to a lot of mistakes. 3. Knowing the intervals by heart is really useful for doing cool stuff with chords. In regards to playing lead sheets, it will give you the tools for voicing melodies with a wide variety of chord voicings. Alright, let's get started. An interval is simply the distance between 2 notes. So if I play C and E flat, the space between them is called an interval. Intervals are measured in semitones, a semitone being the distance between 2 adjacent notes. So a semitone above C would be C sharp, and a semitone below C would be B. Every size of interval has its own name. For example, the size of this interval is 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. And a 3-semitone interval is called a minor third, which makes E flat the minor third of C. The note the interval is built from is called the root, which in this case is C. We count intervals starting from the note a semitone above the root. 1, 2, 3. It's a really common mistake to count intervals not from the note above the root, but from the root itself, like this. 1, 2, 3. So now I've got D instead of E flat, which is wrong. It becomes more obvious why it's wrong when we count the semitones like this. 1 semitone above C, 2 semitones above C, 3 semitones above C. Now if I count from the root itself, we can see the problem. 1 semitone above C. It's like I'm saying C is 1 semitone above itself, which obviously is insane. That's why we count intervals from the note a semitone above the root. You will make this mistake at some point, so just try to keep an eye out for it. All of the information we'll need for our intervals is contained in this table. On the left is the interval name, and on the right is how far that interval is from the root in semitones. For the intervals with a plus before this number, as in the minor third, major third, and perfect fifth, we count the number of semitones above the root. So if the root is C, we count from here, 1 semitone above C. For the intervals with a minus before this number, as in the minor 7th and major 7th intervals, we count down that many semitones from the root an octave above. So, if our root is C, we jump up to this C, and we count down from here, 1 semitone below the root. Now we'll go through all of these intervals and we'll have a go at finding 3 examples of each one. This pause icon will flash on screen before I work through each set of intervals, giving you an opportunity to pause the video and find them without me. You can then unpause the video and see if you got them right. A minor third is 3 semitones above the root, so for C, 1, 2, 3, the minor third is E flat. Let's find the minor third for D, F and B flat. So for D, 1, 2, 3, the minor third is F. For F, 1, 2, 3, the minor third is A flat. And for B flat, 1, 2, 3, the minor third is D flat. You might have noticed that none of these minor thirds look the same. That's because of these 2 gaps on the keyboard. So 3 semitones above C gives us a black note, and 3 semitones above D gives us a white note. That means the only reliable way to find intervals correctly is to actually count the semitones, as using patterns will often give you the wrong answer. Next up is the major third, which is 4 semitones above the root. So for C, 1, 2, 3, 4, the major third is E. We'll find the major third for G, E and A flat. So for G, 1, 2, 3, 4, the major third is B. For E, 1, 2, 3, 4, the major third is A flat. And for A flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, the major third is C. Next is the perfect fifth. Many students assume, quite reasonably, that as it's called a fifth, it will be 5 semitones above the root. But as you can see, it's actually 7. So for C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the perfect fifth is G. The reason a fifth is not actually 5 semitones above the root is because intervals are named for their position in scales and not their distance in semitones. So the name of an interval tells us nothing about how far it is from the root. We'll find the fifth for B, F sharp, and E. So for B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the fifth is F sharp. For F sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the fifth is C sharp. And for E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the fifth is B. The minor seventh is 10 semitones above the root. So for C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the minor seventh is B flat. But counting out 10 semitones every time we want to find a minor seventh is kind of a drag. So instead, we'll go to the root an octave above, so this C up here, and then we'll just count down 2 semitones. 1 semitone below the root, 2 semitone below the root, which gives us the same result of B flat, which is still the minor seventh of C. So let's find the minor seventh for F, D, and C sharp. So for F, we jump up to this F up here and count down 1, 2. The minor seventh is E flat. For D, we jump up to this D up here and count down 1, 2. The minor seventh is C. And for C sharp, we jump up to this C sharp up here and count down 1, 2. The minor seventh is B. Our last interval, the major seventh, is 11 semitones above the root. So for C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the major seventh is B. Again, we'll save time by jumping to the root an octave above, this C up here, and just counting down 1 semitone below the root. And again, that gets us B, the major seventh of C. Let's find the major seventh for A, F, and B flat. So for A, we jump up to this A here and count down 1. The major seventh is G sharp. For F, let's jump up to the F up here and count down 1. The major seventh is E. And for B flat, we jump up to this B flat here and we count down 1. The major seventh is A. Now let's use those intervals to construct major 7, minor 7, and dominant 7 chords. These are the most common chords in jazz, and we'll be constructing them using this table. The symbol for the chord is written on the left, so you can quickly reference the 3rd, 5th, and 7th for the chord that you're looking for. The next column indicates the chord type that each symbol refers to, and these 3 columns tell you what kind of 3rd, 5th, and 7th are required to make up the chord. All 3 chords have a perfect 5th and some unique combination of minor 3rd and 7th. To allow you to read this table at a glance, I've used maj to indicate major 3rds and 7ths and a minus symbol to indicate minor 3rds and 7ths. Let's go through the chords and practice constructing 3 examples of each one. Again, our good friend the pause icon will flash on screen before I construct each chord, so you can have a go without me first. We'll start with the major 7. Major 7 chords are written with a maj 7, like this. Let's use this chart to make a C major 7. We'll be using our left hand to play all the chords in this course, starting from now. So we're making a C major 7 chord, so our root will be C. I can then use this chord table to figure out what kind of 3rd, 5th, and 7th I need. And I can use this interval table to remind myself of how far each of those intervals is from the root. If I want to find the 3rd of C major 7, the chord table tells me that major 7 chords have a major 3rd. And the interval table reminds me that a major 3rd is 4 semitones above the root. So C major 7 has a major 3rd, which is 4 semitones above C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Next, the 5th. Major 7 chords have a perfect 5th, which is 7 semitones above the root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the 7th. Major 7 chords have a major 7th, which is 1 semitone below the root. So I jump to this C up here, and I count down 1 semitone. 1. And that's a C major 7. Let's find 3 more major 7 chords. We'll do D major 7, a flat major 7, and B major 7. So for D major 7, our root will be D, then a major 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a major 7th. So up to this D here and down 1. And that is a D major 7. So for A flat major 7, our root will be A flat, and then a major 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a major 7th. So up to this A flat here and down 1. And that's an A flat major 7. Finally, for B major 7, our root will be B, and then a major 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a major 7th. So up to this B here and down 1. And that's B major 7. On to the minor 7. Let's use the tables to make a C minor 7 chord. The root is going to be C. Next, the third. Minor 7 chords have a minor third. 1, 2, 3. Then the fifth. Minor 7 chords have a perfect fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And finally the 7th. Minor 7 chords have a minor 7th, which is 2 semitones below the root. So I jump up to this C here and count down 1, 2. And that is a C minor 7 chord. Now let's try and find G minor 7, E minor 7, and C sharp minor 7. So for G minor 7, our root will be G, and then a minor third, 1, 2, 3, and then a perfect fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a minor 7th. So up to this G here and down 2, 1, 2, and that's G minor 7. Finally, C sharp minor 7, the root will be C sharp, and then a minor third, 1, 2, 3, a perfect fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a minor 7th. So up to this C sharp here and down 1, 2, and that's C sharp minor 7. Finally, dominant 7 chords. Let's make a C dominant 7. The root is C. Dominant 7 chords have a major third, 1, 2, 3, 4. Dominant 7 chords have a perfect fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they have a minor 7th. So up to this root here and down 2 semitones, 1, 2. And that is a C dominant 7. Let's try and find E dominant 7, G dominant 7, and B flat dominant 7. So for E dominant 7, our root is E, then a major third, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a perfect fifth, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then a minor 7th. We come up to this root here and we go down 2. And that's E dominant 7. For G dominant 7, the root will be G, and then it's a major third, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's a perfect fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then for the minor 7th, we come up to this root here and come down 1, 2. And that's G dominant 7. And for B flat dominant 7, our root is B flat, and then a major third, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a minor 7th, which we find by coming to this B flat here and going down 1, 2, and that's B flat dominant 7. Alright, cool. We've learned some intervals and we've learned how to construct chords with them. If we stop there, everything would be forgotten within a couple days. So let's strike while the iron's hot and drill the skills we just acquired by working through this chord chart. This is purely a chord building exercise. We're just going to work out each chord one after the other and we're only going to do it once. This will hone the skills that jazz beginners need to quickly learn new chord sequences. And those skills are 1. Reading chord symbols, 2. Constructing chords, 3. Memorizing the number of semitones in each interval, and 4. Memorizing the 3rd, 5th, and 7th that make up each chord. For this exercise, you'll need both this chord chart and this cheat sheet in front of you like this. The link for both is in the description. You'll be referencing the cheat sheet constantly, so it needs to be big and easy to read, and you should be able to see all of it at once. Ideally, print both of them, but if that's not an option, the chord chart can be on a small screen and the cheat sheet on a big screen like this. You can also just copy the cheat sheet out by hand in big clear writing. Here's mine, it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes and it will save you much more. A quick word on reading chord symbols before we start. Chord symbols come in 2 parts. The first part is the root and the second part is the chord type. The confusion comes in around these sharps and flats, which appear to be between the root and the chord type. The confusion being, are they part of the root or are they part of the chord? For example, is this a C sharp 7 chord or a C sharp 7 chord? So whenever there is a sharp or flat here between the root and the chord type, it is always part of the root and never the chord type. So this is in fact a C sharp 7 chord, which is a good thing because sharp 7 chords are not a thing. Let's do a little test. What are the names of these chords? Pause now if you want to figure it out before I give the answers. You have 3, 2, 1. They are B flat minor 7, E flat dominant 7, G sharp major 7, and G major 7. It's really common for students to mistake these sharps and flats as part of the chord symbol or just miss them altogether. You're bound to do this at some point, so see if you can catch yourself when you make this mistake. You're going to tackle every chord in 2 steps. Step 1, build the chord in the order of root 3rd, 5th, 7th. And step 2, check the chord, again in the order of root 3rd, 5th, 7th. Step 2 is there to help you catch your mistakes, because every mistake you catch will make you better. It will also make you spend more time going over the intervals and chords, which is the whole point of this exercise. Let's have a go at constructing the first few chords. Step 1 is construct the chord. So this chord is a D minor 7 chord, so the root will be D. And then we need a minor 3rd, 1, 2, 3. And then a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a minor 7th. So I'm going to come to this D here and then come down 2, 1, 2. And that is my D minor 7, or so I believe at this point, because now we're in step 2, which is check the chord. We're going to keep this here and we're going to go over every single one of these notes. So we'll start with the root. It's a D minor 7 chord, so the root should be D. That's correct. Minor 7 chords have a minor 3rd, which is 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. That's correct as well. Minor 7 chords have a perfect 5th, which is 7 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's correct as well. And then minor 7 chords have a minor 7th, which should be 2 semitones below this root. 1, 2. So that's the process you should go through for every single chord. Let's do the next one. Step 1, construct the chord. The chord is G dominant 7, so our root will be G, and then a major 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a minor 7th, so up to this root here and down 1, 2. Okay, cool. Step 2 is check the chord. So I am now going to introduce a bowl with some Lego in it to this whole situation, and I'll explain why. For some students, I find it's useful to use a little prop for the checking phase, whereby for every note they check and confirm is correct, they drop something like a coin, or in my case, a bit of Lego into a bowl, like so. This is useful for students who move too fast and don't properly check each note, which leads to a lot of mistakes which go by unnoticed. I find these students only feel the need to slow down and rigorously check each note if they have to confirm it by doing something concrete, like dropping a bit of Lego into a bowl. If you suspect you're making a lot of mistakes that you aren't catching, or the chords sound really bad and you don't know why, this will probably fix most of your issues and you should do it. It is stupidly effective. So let's check this next chord with the aid of our Lego and bowl system. So it's a G dominant 7 chord. I'll just get up what I had before. So the root should be G, that's correct, Lego in the bowl. It should have a major 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's correct as well, more Lego in the bowl. It should have a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep, that's correct, in she goes. And a minor 7th, so 2 semitones below this root here. 1, 2, that's correct, boom. And there you go, you got a correct chord, a bowl for the Lego, what's not to love? Alright, last one. Step 1, construct the chord. The chord is C major 7, so our root will be C, then a major 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, then a perfect 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a major 7th, so to this root here, and down 1 semitone. Okay. Now we're going to keep this here and check it just one last time. It's a C major 7 chord, so the root should be C. That's correct. It's a major 7 chord. It has a major 3rd, which is 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great, that's what I've got, correct. Major 7 chords have a perfect 5th, which is 7 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what I've got, that's correct as well. And major 7 chords have a major 7th, which should be 1 semitone below the root above, and I can see that it is. Cool. That is a C major 7 chord, checked, and it is all correct. And that's it. That's the whole exercise. Simply work through the chords, constructing them one by one. The chord chart reads left to right, and we do each chord just once. Tick them off as you go, or make a note of the last chord you did at the end of a session so you can pick up where you left off. When you've worked through this chord chart once, you should be ready to move on to part 2 of this course, though there's no downside to working through it multiple times if you want to. In part 2, we'll learn to invert these chords so that they're easier to play, and then we'll use them to actually play a tune from a lead sheet. You can also just mess around with the stuff that you've learned. These chords are really powerful, you can make all kinds of stuff with them if you're so inclined. here's a few ideas you could play around with. So one thing you could do is you could write chord sequences. So I'm just picking like random chords. I'm not really thinking about what key I'm in, I'm just doing random stuff. And this will start to sound like neo soul quite quickly, because that's a lot of what neo soul is, just kind of random chords in a way that don't necessarily relate to each other but just sound nice. Another thing you could do is you could like add some notes over the top of your chord sequence. So if you come up with something like this, for example, you could just like try some notes over the top. I'll just keep it really simple. I'm playing notes that are kind of in the chord right now, those will always work. So yeah, just a few ideas to try there to see if you like anything that comes out of it. You could try all of those ideas or none of them and just see what you come up with. When you get bored, just move on to the next video in this course and learn some more stuff. I'll see you there.